we were sweating going to talk to Everett about this because it was changing up a lot of the things that were happening. My role was going to change. Josh's role was going to change. And these were the ones we'd been bequeathed with Everett when his was taking and growing his company. And we were both sweating it. And we go down there. I had drawn out like a PowerPoint presentation with this new workflow chart and like pretty colors and all this stuff. And we presented to him, and he was drinking his Anna's Cabana, which is the drink that they make when they're on the boat. And he was sitting there drinking it, and he looks at it and he goes, "It's about damn time. I've been wondering how long it was going to take y'all to do this." And Josh,
that's great. Welcome to the Owner's Table podcast. Our guest this week is AnnaMarie Ellison. So she's a great friend of mine. I've done a lot of business with her here in Birmingham. But what we did is we kind of went through the rabbit hole of family life, talked a lot about family, and then going through a divorce, and then transitioning into doing what she loves, going back and getting some education and some degrees at an age that's not typical, and then her growth in real estate and how she's managing that today as a busy mom and as extremely successful real estate professional. I know you're going to enjoy it. Is it head broke? What is it? What is like your title? It's ERA King, but like, what is it?
So I'm the Chief Operating Officer for ERA King Real Estate.
Chief Operating Officer, ERA King, which is all things real estate. So my first question is talk to me about that. Is that like, are you an owner of like a franchise? Like, tell me how that works and what you do, because I'm not real sure.
Yeah. So ERA is a franchise. ERA King is a franchise of ERA Real Estate. And I am part owner with Anna and Everett King and Josh Wright.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you got the people at the top, and then you own this franchise. So you don't really sell houses, do you?
I get to vicariously sell houses with agents who were working on developing and helping grow their business. So
Jessica Gilmore, we love Jessica. She works with you. Does she like? Would you say she's like an employee of yours or like an independent contractor? How does that work?
She's an independent contractor, and she is actually an example that I was going to give. She went on vacation for 21 days. I completely stepped in and handled all of her business for her, so she got a chance to break and take that time that she needed with Gray.
That's wonderful. Okay, so you own this real estate business. Let's go back to the beginning. Talk to me about where you grew up, all the different things, just kind of like your high level story of growing up and what shaped you.
I grew up in Homewood, Alabama, graduated
not
in
far
2000.
From your office.
Nope, not far from my office. My mama, daddy, Meemaw, and Meemaw all lived within 5 miles from where I grew up. Graduated from Homewood, got a volleyball scholarship to play at Montevallo.
I did not know that.
Yep. So I got in the weight room.
Okay, do you know Fabi?
Yes, so Fabi,
what?
She is... So it's funny you say that. I got injured and left Montevallo, and she came in the year after I left. But I played with all the girls she's played with and was really good friends with them. And she and I actually had dinner with Erica Van Arsdale a couple of weeks ago.
How about that? Okay, so for people that don't know, Fabi Clark is a really good friend of Jackie and I. Got kids the same age as Jackie. Jackie's nice kids, and she is the head volleyball coach at Helena. And her husband, Jeremy, does a lot of our insurance. Just wonderful, wonderful family. Yes. She's from Brazil.
Yes.
Still has a pretty thick accent.
Yes. I have to watch her talk.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, that's great. Okay. Yeah. So went to Montevallo. So when you're at Montevallo, so I have to ask this question just about every time. So from the time I was 5, I knew what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. When you were at Montevallo, what was like, hey, I'm going to go do this. What was that?
I was going to be a political consultant or be the press secretary for the White House. I wanted to be CJ Craig.
Really? Why? I've never heard anybody say that. That's not something people say.
Well, I like politics. I like the reconnaissance research when somebody decides they want to take on or run for office or push an initiative. I like poking holes and finding out why they will not vote for you or where you're weak on subjects and helping with right policy and that type of stuff.
Do you still enjoy that?
I do.
Really?
But on the real estate side. So I'm heavily involved with our local association, with housing policy, homeownership rights.
When you say local, do you mean Homewood or Birmingham or Alabama?
Yes.
All three?
Yes.
Okay, so you're kind of lobbying for what you feel like is the best thing for...
No, I am not a lobbyist.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
What's the best way? You're standing up for...
Yeah.
What you feel like is the best thing for the homeowner, the citizen, or...
Property rights.
Okay.
So that can be business owners. that can be homeowners, that can be people and tenants' rights as well. So property rights,
Okay.
as well as making sure that the realtor has a job 20, 15, 30 years from now. There are all kinds of entities putting pressure on our profession. And so making sure we're protecting that for years to come.
What kind of pressure? I don't understand.
Well,
Give me an example.
there's all kinds of real estate technology companies that feel that they can replace the human experience or the human relationship when purchasing a house with a bot, with AI, with blockchain. Like I said, there's all kinds of people out there that feel and have funding ginormous pockets to be able to remove that human element from purchasing a house. They see a world where you can drag and drop a house in a cart and purchase.
Okay. So the crazy thing is, I was listening to something this morning. There's these two guys, and they have a podcast called My First Million. It's a wonderful podcast. These guys, just two dudes sitting around talking. It's great. And they talked about that. I mean, this morning, the guy talked about how he feels like at some point you will be able to buy a home online. Now, in that process, though, there's still a bunch of dialogue, dialogue, just back and forth that I understand the real estate process extremely well. But like, I still lean on like Joey Calvin. I bought a lot of homes with him. I bought some stuff with Jessica. Like, I still lean on those people. Do you think that it'll ever get to the point where the human is not necessary?
No, because I think, and I know that when somebody makes a purchase of a piece of property, whether that's for business or whether that's for their personal family, they want somebody to stand by their side and do that with them who has had success. I liken it a lot of times to, if you were to go climb Mount Everest, you're going to take your Sherpa with you.
Sure.
You're going to want to take somebody with you who's climbed to the top and made it back down.
Yeah, sure.
That's the same for housing. And whether you've bought one house, whether you've bought 15 houses, you want to have somebody help navigate that for you, because it's not your full-time job knowing all the codes, financing ups and downs, and stuff like
steps.
that.
Even if you've bought 2 or 3 houses, like I'll give you a great example. A guy here in the room with us, Luke, he's selling his home in Troy. He was on the market for one day. The next day, because he asked me, was like, hey, what do I need to do? He said, I got 2 full price offers. Day 2, I was like, hey, so I called a couple of people. I was like, hey, what do we need to do here? This is what I think. What I thought was pretty much in line with what my buddy thought. And we're waiting. But there's 4 conversations going on for 4 different people that are relatively well-versed in real estate. He may not ever go into real estate, but him having a human being. So he's got him, he's got his real estate agent, he's got me, and then he's got the guy that I kind of lean on and trust on stuff like that. So I think I tend to agree with you. Now, I do think that there will be a time where real estate professionals, people that do investing, people that have systems in place that are buying in bulk, meaning multiple rental homes, I think that would be a little less human heavy.
Potentially. A lot of the work of the human being removed will come from the lending side. That's where so much of the stuff occurs. But
meaning like bankers?
Well, yeah. And, Fannie, Freddie, some of their policies are not really up to date when it comes to there being ability to remove a human from it.
Right.
But housing is not a stock or a bond or a commodity. It is something that somebody's going to live in, have family memories in, raise their children in. So there is a part of life that happens in a house. And if you're an investor, you're going to want somebody who knows the people who will be renting those properties from you. And that can't happen from a bot.
No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. So, okay. So taking a step back, so you go from this, I want to be press secretary, to what crushed that dream or got you out of that? Like, where did it go from there? Because, 21, 22 years old, wanting to be the press secretary, to being an extremely successful real estate, business owner. Like, tell me the journey there. Like, when you left Montevallo, what happened from there?
Well, life choices. I didn't graduate from Montevallo.
Okay.
Life choices. Fell in love, got married really young, and moved to Anniston, Alabama. Moved a couple different places, but ultimately ended up in Anniston, Alabama.
Okay.
And that's where I met Anna and Everett King and was talking to my aunt. She was licensed down in Navarre, Florida.
Okay.
I said, do you think I can do this real estate thing? She said, I think you can. At that time, I was managing the back office for like 13 health clubs, and I hated it because all I did was talk to people who owed us $29 and $39 a month. And then, our vendors. I did learn a lot about running a small business by managing that back office,
right.
like cash flow and, stuff
sure.
like that.
So life kind of took you in a different direction. And so you're in Anniston managing the back end of these health clubs, which, as you've already mentioned, was extremely valuable.
Oh, yeah. Because
one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is, like you said before, is influx of cash, outgoing of cash, payroll, business this, that was probably a extremely valuable time period.
I didn't know it. I didn't know what I was, the knowledge, the experience. I didn't know I was getting at the time.
Wow.
What I knew is that I didn't have a college degree and I could make $750 a month per health club. And I didn't think it was possible to make that much money without having a degree.
Okay. So you guys moved to Anniston and you start these health clubs. You're managing the back end of these things. And you sounded like you'd learned a lot in that situation.
Yes.
So the influx of cash, the outgo of cash, all that good stuff. So from there,
There's a customer service element that you learn in the health club. I don't know if you've ever worked out at one, but the tanning beds are never clean. Personal trainers will hit on you. Childcare's never open at the right hours.
And all the equipment's broken.
And they make you sign like a lifetime contract that you only get out of when you die.
Right. You're right.
Or you move more than 60 miles away. So I got that part experience as well, is helping people, they're never going to get out of this contract, but I'm going to make them happy and address the tanning beds and address the toilet paper,
right?
And knock on 3 months at the end of their contract to make it a 39-month contract instead of a 36-month contract.
So where did you transition from there?
So I got my real estate license, and my aunt had said she thought I would like it. And I remember calling my mom and I said,
do you have a kid yet?
No.
Major's not born yet.
This is 2006 is when this is. So I call my mom and I said, hey, I think I'm gonna get my real estate license. And she goes, AnnaMarie, that test is so hard. Do you think you'll pass?
You get your license in 2006.
In June of 2006.
So everybody's trying to sell houses because they're giving so much money away.
Yeah, it's the best time.
Because I bought a house in 2005.
It's the best time. Best time. Okay. People are coming out of the woodwork. Money is free.
Wow, it is free. It was free.
I didn't even have to show you my income or I have a down payment.
God, I know. Like I bought a house in 2005 and I was not making any money, and my wife didn't even have a job. We weren't married, number one. My wife didn't have a job, and I got a letter straight up. I got a letter from the guy that was going to hire. This is how crazy. So you young people, this is how crazy things were in like 02, 03, early 03, 04, all the way up to 08. I was making 30 grand. My wife didn't have a job. And we got a letter from the principal saying that she was going to make $40,000 a year. And we got a mortgage for over $150,000.
Yep.
And had like probably $8,000 in the bank.
Yep. Probably didn't have a credit score. They didn't care.
Very small. Yeah.
They didn't care.
Wow. Okay. So you get your license in 2006. Go ahead.
Well, so I remember calling my mom and telling her that this was the direction I want to go. And she said, AnnaMarie, I hear that test so hard. Are you sure you're going to pass? And I was like, well, thanks for the confidence there, Mom.
Yeah.
So then I was determined to prove her wrong, because I know you might understand the mother-daughter relationship, but
yeah,
I had to make sure that I was right on this.
Sure.
So I took about 30 days and passed the test. And
First
I called
time?
her. Yep.
Very good.
I called her and I said, hey, I passed. And she goes, you did?
Oh my gosh. What are we doing?
I'm the first daughter.
Yeah.
I'm an overachiever.
Exactly.
Of course I'm going to pass. Interviewed companies in Anniston at the time and ultimately landed with Anna and Everett because of all the companies I talked with. They were the only ones looking forward. They talked about the direction that they wanted the company to go in. They weren't reflecting on all of the accolades of previous year's achievements.
Anna and Everett King. So like ERA King, that's those human.
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that was local. I thought it was a national thing. Okay.
He started it, or his dad started it. And now we're 54 years locally owned.
Wow. Okay, so you get the license in 2006 and then immediately go start working for ERA King, like just as an agent?
Yep.
Okay, so you're working as an agent.
Working as an agent.
Where?
In Anniston.
Okay.
Covering that Anniston, Oxford,
Yep.
Jacksonville area. Major was born in December of 2008.
Okay.
And I had been grappling with going back to school at that time. But
Why?
then when he was, so from 6 to 8, which was only 2 years, I didn't know anybody in the area. So I had to build, I didn't know anybody. I was working in our house with these health clubs. I had turned in my notice there because I couldn't build a business in Anniston. I mean, I didn't know a single person. I knew my husband's mother and father, and that was it. And then my broker. So the only thing I knew was to get involved with the community. Well,
okay. Are you married at the time?
We're married.
Okay.
Yes, because we got married in 2003.
Yep. Okay.
So I didn't know anybody there. And my husband at that time was working at Jacksonville State University. So I knew the coaching staff. He was a graduate assistant. So if I didn't
what
sell
year is
anything, this was 2006.
Okay. Okay.
2005, 2006, 2007,
okay.
2008.
I keep going.
He was a graduate assistant up there. And, being a son of a coach and working in athletics yourself, you know how much graduate assistants gets paid.
Oh, yeah. I
had to hurry up and sell some houses or we were going to be in a really tough spot because I had already turned in my notice for the health club situation, wasn't working with any of those anymore. So I had to sell something real quick.
So he's a GA.
So he's a GA.
You're a new real estate person and don't know anybody.
Don't know anybody.
It's hard enough for the people that know a lot of people to break into that business, but you don't know anybody.
Not a single person.
And this is 08.
This is 06.
06. This is 06. Oh man. Okay.
So
wow. This is not starting out great.
No, it's not. Well, as a GA, one of the perks is you do get you can eat on campus.
Yep.
You can eat in the cafeteria and all of your food and all that stuff's covered up there. So we knew how he was going to eat.
Sure.
It was a little tough since I hadn't sold anything. So our company was members of the chamber. Yeah. We were sponsors in all of the things. Well, I tended to meet people and to eat.
Every lunch you could.
Every lunch I could.
Wow.
I joined the Kiwanis Club so that I could meet people.
And eat.
Well, but I couldn't pay their dues. So I asked, they didn't have a new person who did the newsletter at the time. So I asked if I could do their weekly newsletter and they would comp my dues. So I got my Thursday lunch covered. But they got an email from me once a week from AnnaMarie at ERA King Real Estate with all the Kiwanis information. And so I attended all the chamber things. And so I had worked up to, I was not the best and I wasn't selling 2 houses a year. I had a nice plate, but it got to a place where everybody would say, where did you go to school? And I go, I graduated from Homewood. And they go, no, but where did you finish college? And I was starting to get embarrassed that I didn't have a place to tell them. So I remember talking to Everett and saying, hey, I think I'm going to go back to school. And he was like, you don't have to do that.
How much
You're
did you have
plenty
left?
Of money. I had about 2 years at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He said, he goes, you don't have to do that. I don't have to have a degree to sell real estate. I said, I know, but I want. And he goes, yeah, you want to be able to hang that sheet of paper on your wall. The people you're working with have completed that part. And I said, yeah. And so I did that. Anyway, so I did go back to school.
Okay,
and I finished at Jacksonville State.
Okay. Oh.
I did finish at Jacksonville State. But I took 2 years, my last 2 semesters, I got permission to take 21 hours so I could get done with it.
Yeah.
But I knew if I didn't do it when Major was young, I would never have the opportunity to go back. So I would go to class. I would take this 7 o'clock class, and I would be in class either Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. I didn't do them all 5 days.
Sure.
And I'd be out of class by about 11. Well, that's about 30 minutes for me to get to the fill-in-the-blank lunch and go to this chamber event. Then I'd show houses, work all day the rest of the day, and then work on the weekends. But I sold houses to either every professor that I taught or somebody they had moved in or somebody they were moving out. So by the time I was done, it had well paid for itself, me going back to school. And I loved every single minute of it because I got to focus on something really, really hard that had nothing to do with my livelihood. Keeping a human alive.
Okay, so this is the time when most successful people go through this time. Mm-hmm. I could probably walk you through my time a little bit different, a little bit earlier than that, but it's the same situation. So how much do you attribute, we talked about consequences earlier, how much do you contribute that section of time working, small kid, selling homes, going to every networking event you can, and going to school.
Yeah.
How much do you contribute to all of that hard work to where you are today?
I mean, all of it has to do with that. You talked about earlier about I got my license like right when everything was fantastic.
Sure.
To nothing,
The
everything
bottom.
stopped. Well, I hadn't had enough time to establish any horrible habits.
Mm.
I hadn't had any advantage of, just people knocking on my door because I didn't know anybody there.
Right.
So all I knew was the grip and grin, shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah.
In order to get my name out there and to build business and to follow through with what you said you were going to do.
Oh.
And I learned a lot about time management.
Yeah.
And what I probably take away the most from that time now today, and I talk about it a lot, is the importance of being intentional with your time.
Yeah.
Because if I wasn't intentional with this thing and then this thing and then this thing, I would have a lot more gray hair.
Well, you have all the time blocking. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to be here at this time. I've got to be here at that time. So I got to make sure job A gets done before I go to job
Yeah.
B. So you graduate from college.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason you graduate is to say, I graduated from Jacksonville State, wherever. So where does life lead there? So you got a young kid, you just graduate, you're selling houses. Are you having any success with selling houses?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're making great money, average money, or just no, not very good money?
I was supporting my family. So
Yeah. Okay. So where does it transition from there? How long do you stay in that mode of?
I sold all the way up until 2013.
Okay.
And then life brought me back to Birmingham.
Okay.
And I needed to.
And major's 5 at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Life brought me back to Birmingham. And at that time, Anna and Everett had bought an office in Birmingham. And they were looking to hire a broker or make a change in a broker for that office. The broker at that office, he had small kids and he wanted to take some time off to coach those kids.
Sure.
And so they were actively hiring. And so they had already hired or interviewed 2 experienced brokers from the Birmingham market and had made a decision to hire one of them when I asked for a courtesy interview because I had been with them for so long at that point.
Yeah.
They knew who I was. I had just moved to Birmingham. And they knew I was from Birmingham and that all my family was still there. And so
smart move.
Yeah. And they said, sure, we'll let you interview. And so it was Anna and Everett. We were in the room and Josh was in there too. He was not in the position he's in now. And
Who's Josh?
Josh is their son who was starting to take over some of the management before I moved into that role. Yeah.
Okay. So you move back to Birmingham. What happened from there? So you interviewed, then what?
So of all the things that I said, y'all have known me for a long time. You know my work ethic. You know that I'm able to juggle a lot of things successfully at the same time. I don't have broker experience, but I do have something that none of the other people you've spoken to have. And Everett goes, really, AnnaMarie, what's that? And I said, I've grown up in your company culture.
Yeah.
I can teach your company culture. I can recruit and I can grow this company to your company culture. And that's ultimately what sealed the deal. So they gave me like this much rope in the beginning.
Sure.
And then from 2014 to 2019, we grew by 4 offices in the Birmingham market.
Okay. So let's go back. So from 2013, 2014 mark, when you moved back to Birmingham, when you interviewed, what were you interviewing for? Were you
to be the broker of one office?
So let's make sure people understand.
Yeah.
What is a broker? What is a real estate broker?
A real estate broker is responsible for coaching, training, managing the agents underneath them who have my proxy to practice real estate under this umbrella.
So ERA King, what was the
Homewood.
Homewood. Mm-hmm. ERA King Homewood, you're the broker. You're not an owner.
Not at this time. No.
Okay, so they still quote unquote own this office.
Yep.
Okay. So you're a broker. Now let's go back to this. Brokers. So you're the broker and the 5 people in the room are your agents.
Correct.
So there's a 5% commission. What does the broker get? So you get a little small sliver of everything that everybody sells, correct?
Yep.
So if it's 5%, of that 5%, what percentage does the broker get from all the percentages?
It depends because it's independent contractors agreement with every single person that's with you. So, If you sell a lot, that looks different than if you don't sell anything, right? So,
Okay. So it's obviously maybe like a sliding scale.
sure.
Okay. So you're I say just, I don't mean that disrespectfully. You're the broker at this point and you grow. And so you grow from one broker in one office. And so you are brokering, you said 4 offices. So there's 4 more in
Brokerage.
Birmingham and you're the broker for all of them?
Well, I'm the broker for one of them, but at that time they had 2 different entities. They had a Birmingham LLC, and then they had the King Real Estate from where they had purchased the company. So I became responsible for everything under that LLC, and they made me a partner of that LLC at that time.
Did you have to buy into it?
No.
I'm a little confused.
Which is fantastic.
I'm a little confused, so I don't understand. So like you're an owner of this one in Birmingham, in Homewood, but so they make you partner, in my opinion, means owner.
That's correct.
So what are you part owner of?
Well, in 13, I was just the broker, but by the time 19 got here, I had earned the ownership portion of the entity that owned those 4 LLCs.
So you've got 4 offices that you own, or part owner?
Part owner in.
Okay.
But that's now changed again.
Okay.
We dissolved that LLC to roll it into the larger entity.
ERA King.
And my ownership transferred and increased when we went to this one. And so now Josh and myself are partners with Anna and Everett in King Real Estate.
So Anna and Everett are the ERA.
Are the majority owners, yeah.
And then you've got Josh, which is the kid. Their kid.
One of the 3, yeah.
One of the 3? Okay. Okay. And then there's you. So those are the only 4 partners in ERA King.
Correct.
So if I'm asking the wrong question, just tell me how many you said there's 54 offices, ERA King offices?
We have 9 offices
in
the state of Alabama.
You have 9 offices.
Yes.
So you are one of the partners in owning all of those 9. Oh.
Today I am. Yeah.
But you weren't at the time. Now, when did that happen of you becoming a partner in all 9 of those offices?
We had the 2 entities. I was responsible for one. Josh was responsible for other. As him and I learned to work together and our strengths and our weaknesses, the stuff I was good at wasn't his favorite stuff to do. The stuff he was good at wasn't my favorite stuff to do. So those things in both of our entities were suffering. So weren't doing great. And so him and I got together and I said, you know what? In a perfect world, in 5 years, what do you want to walk into this company and do every day? And he said, I want to do this, this, and this. And I said, great. I don't want to do those things at all. Those make me sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And I said, what I want to do is this, this, and this. And he said, I don't enjoy doing that. You do that.
So what are those things that Josh said he was good at, that he likes doing?
He likes working with our ancillary, like mortgage, title. We have a gigantic property management portfolio in Anniston. They manage about 1,200 properties. So he likes doing that part, supporting the businesses that support the real estate transaction. His degree is in finance. He did mortgages for a number of years. So he likes that part. Okay.
What part are you good at / you enjoy doing?
Oh, I like the sales. I love motivating our agents. I love, learning about them and their families and helping them reach whatever it is they want to do. I love doing that part.
Do you consider yourself being more front of house and him being more back of house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Still, but you got to have both.
You have to.
You got to have both.
Have to.
Okay. Do y'all manage apartments in Anniston and Jacksonville? Huh, interesting. Okay. So you become owner in part owner in these 9 offices. Where has it transitioned since that happened? Where have y'all grown, transitioned from there? Like, are you just still rocking along? Just fill me in on when that happened to now. Where are we at?
So when Josh and I got together and said, you do this great, you do this great, let's figure this out. That's when we dissolved one entity to roll into the whole. And we went to Everett and Anna, who are, at that point, they were the owner of King Real Estate. I just had ownership in the other piece. And Josh and I went to them and they said, we would like to propose this. We want to make it one entity, with Josh being responsible for this and AnnaMarie being responsible for this. And I'll never forget, we were sweating going to talk to Everett about this because it was changing up a lot of the things that were happening. my role was going to change. Josh's role was going to change. And these were the ones we'd been bequeathed with Everett
Sure.
when his was taking and growing his company. And we were both sweating it. And we go down there. I had drawn out like a PowerPoint presentation with this new workflow chart and like pretty colors and all this stuff. And we presented to him, and he was drinking his Anna's Cabana, which is the drink that they make when they're on the boat. And he was sitting there drinking it, and he looks at it and he goes, "It's about damn time. I've been wondering how long it was going to take y'all to do this." And Josh
that's
and I both were
great.
like, "Oh my gosh." So afterwards I said, I should have gotten to sign it. So if it doesn't work, we could then blame it on that it was his
exactly.
idea.
Oh my gosh.
But we were both like, whew. Anyway, and that's when Everett said, "Hey, if y'all are going to do this, then I'm going to give y'all this." And that's when the ownership and the other part for us both.
So they still, how active are Anna and Everett?
Well, Josh and I try and keep them, and they have a boat in Key West. Our goal is to keep them in Key West like 10, 11 months out of the year.
Wow.
But Anna is still she has a gigantic real estate business. She's got fantastic assistants in Faith and Kayla, and they keep her business running on the ground. But she's still unbelievably involved with listing and negotiating properties.
In Birmingham or where?
Well, in Anniston. She did $28 million last year. So they're moved a lot more out of the day-to-day. Josh and I are running the majority of that, all of that. And Everett gets to call himself the Sunshine Committee and just gets to come in and love on the people and
That's wonderful.
buy the drinks. And so, yeah.
So since ownership was taken over, what's the best way to ask this? Are you happy with your income, or do you have those types of goals? Do you have income goals? Do you have things like that are personal, not just the business?
Do
you think of those things?
Goals. I don't want to say no that I don't think about income. I mean, I think that income is a byproduct of the quality of work that you do.
Right.
And if you are happy doing the thing, your work, there will be pride in what you do, and you will be compensated for that. And I love what I do.
Sure.
And I do it pretty damn well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. Okay, so how many agents do you guys manage right now in Birmingham or in the 9 offices?
So yeah, because we're in the greater Birmingham. We've got East Central Alabama. We've got an office in Tuscaloosa. And our new expansion market is in Huntsville.
Huntsville. How many agents do y'all manage?
We've got just under 200.
So if someone was out there, real estate, want to be a real estate agent, they love what they hear. What is the best thing that you would tell them to do if they wanted to work with you? Because like some people are drawn to people. Like, oh, I heard this girl and she sounds amazing. Like, what would be the process there?
They can find me on any of the social media channels, AnnaMarieEllison.com. Reach out. We'll have a couple of conversations, and have to get a license in that process as well. But real estate can appear to be extremely glamorous. I mean, HGTV is making a fortune off of the glamour of our industry.
Right.
But as with most things, they only see this much.
Oh my gosh.
And shadowing an agent, not just during the fun things of listing a house or showing houses or going to a closing, actually being completely immersed with an active agent and seeing all of the aspects of real estate is incredibly important.
Right.
Most people think of real estate as, they list, they work with buyers and sellers, and then their closing happens. But the amount of work that goes into procuring or having somebody say, yes, I want to work with you, is the part that you don't see.
What's the most effective way to get listings?
Know your people. And when I say know your people, be present and engaged with them while life is happening. We've been talking a lot at the office right now about how interest rates don't stop life activities.
No.
People get married, have babies, get divorced,
Move,
have to up down,
jobs.
have to move down, have to move up, jobs, regardless of what the interest rates are doing. And if you are present and actively engaged with them, they will reach out to you for help. They need you to help sell their house, to help find them a house. But you can't get mad if they don't call you if you haven't reached out to them, if you haven't been present in their lives to be able to play a part in these decisions.
How much has social media affected a real estate agent's methods?
I would tell you right now that they've made them all lazy, because now they think that if I'm scrolling and I give it a this or a congrats, that is a form of engagement.
It is.
It is.
But it's like such a small form of it.
With the other 20 people, 50 people, where picking up the phone, and I don't care what generation you are, picking up the phone and saying, hey, Thomas, how's it going? I saw that, Jackie just got a promotion. Y'all just got back from the beach. Your new Wilco property is going great. Tell me more about that. I want to hear more.
Right.
There is so much value in that right there.
Sure.
That even if I'd said, hey, congrats on the new property.
Yeah.
It just is not the same.
How, so you made all your inroads in real estate in all the lunches, all the networking, the in-person stuff, the Kiwanis, the chamber, all that. How effective is that today?
I still think it's even more. The COVID, reprogrammed us all.
It did.
To wanting more of this. Now, we might have more obstacles in here to get to of this now, because we grew accustomed to being on a two-dimensional screen.
Zoom.
Digital. Some people are still allowing crutches of not having to work from home or not being able to leave the house to keep them, or being an excuse in between these two things as to why they can't or don't.
So so let's go back to the work from home thing. So do you like your agents, quote unquote, working from home, or do you want them in the office?
I think, not just in real estate, sales in general, that productivity, activity breeds productivity and activity. Us being in the same office, me hearing you making calls, me hearing you negotiate deals, gets me fired up to make calls, negotiate deals. That breeds activity. I'll use it to a non-work environment. When you go to the gym, if it's you by yourself, do you work out the same than when it's you and there's several people in the gym?
Shane didn't come to the gym yesterday, and it was not
It's the same thing. Yeah. Activity, productivity, action breeds productivity and action. And you can't, when you work from home, I'm not saying there's not a time and place to work from
Always
home.
Is,
I can knock out a to-do list when I'm at home.
Yeah.
A lot of times will work from home on Fridays, because I call it my Focus Friday, so I can get everything done that I have added to my notepad for the week.
Right.
But the other 4 days, I'm in the office because I want to hear and I want to breathe in and I want to be motivated by these other salespeople that I get the fortunate to work with to get me all fired up. And in turn, I fire them up when they hear me doing stuff. So,
and we've talked about this. We talked about this on the podcast with Jen Ryan. She loved hiring college athletes.
I did too.
You played sports in college.
Hiring athletes.
So how much of that is like, it gets you quote unquote fired up, but how much of it is competition?
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the competition of Jessica's over there. She's been calling for 2 straight hours. She's talked to this. I can hear her saying this. She's excited about this. I mean, how important is competition in anything that we're doing?
Competition's good. There's another reason why I like to hire and like to work with people who have played college sports.
Okay, what is that?
A person who has played college sports knows that failure isn't an ends to a means.
Yeah.
They know that failure is a part of the process to grow and get better and to learn from that.
Right.
And that is something, especially today, people see I failed and then they stop. That's it. I didn't learn anything. That was done to me. I'm not supposed to do this ever and ever and ever again.
Right.
I see that a lot, especially with some of the younger people who are coming into the workforce, that adversity, that having to have tough conversations, that being in an environment, especially in the weight room, in that environment, you are cheering your teammate on to fail because they're going to get stronger, right? Yeah. Like, that is an incredible environment that teaches you so much that it can apply today in business that you don't get that experience if you're not playing, athletics.
What do, let's just use a number. Let's just say 35 or 40 years old. Where do you see the biggest difference in, let's say 35 and below and 35 and up, the difference in the 2 separate generations? What do you see the biggest difference in their fill in the blank? What is it?
Conversation skills.
Wow, that was very quick.
Yeah.
You knew the exact answer. Conversation skills.
The ability to converse.
Is it like make eye contact? Is it, like, go deeper there, because that's crazy that like you were like going to interrupt me, like, because you knew the answer.
Yes.
So people that are below 35 don't converse with people as well as people that are over 35.
Yeah, correct.
In most cases.
Yeah.
What is that? What are how can you tell? Like, what are the things that you like?
Well,
you're holding back.
Nope, I'm not. So their text communication to me or voice text communication to me is very one way. And then when I get like this with them, it's like, yes. And I'll go, all right, explain more.
Okay.
Did you pick up the phone? Because, in most, especially now, whenever I get involved with a situation, it's not going well. I don't ever get pulled into a deal that has no issues and is going to closing with no problems, right?
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
By the time I get involved, something has gone awry.
Right.
And 9.5 times out of 10, it has gone awry due to poor communication because they texted back and forth versus just picking up a phone and having a conversation or getting clarity on what a text message said.
I think the lesson here is
in hard conversations, they would, hey, that's a no, or they don't want to do that. Or your appraisal came in low. Hard conversations, younger generations tend to want to have via text than picking up a phone or having a face-to-face saying, I need to tell you what happened.
Yeah. I think the lesson here is this.
They've never had to have this.
They never had to have them.
Yeah, Mom always did it for them.
I think that, and I tell my team this a lot, you can't hear someone's volume. You can't hear someone's tone. You can't hear someone's heart through letters.
Correct.
And I told my team this. Hey, guys, if you're frustrated about something, say, hey, can we talk tomorrow? It does two things. Number one, it allows you to cool off and think if it's an issue that you're upset about. And number two, it allows us to physically sit down and discuss so that we can ask questions so that I can hear your heart in case you can also hear mine. Because there's sometimes when you just say no and you sit there and go, oh, that's it? Well, yeah, that's it. It knows the answer. What did I say anything on the back end of it or the front end of it? Or how was my tone or what was my eye contact? It is so critical. And I tell Sierra sometimes, and Sierra's my age, and I love Sierra, but like I tell Sierra, hey, there was a problem with something, whatever. Hey, pick up the phone and call them and ask them these questions and talk to them. Because even people that are over 35, I just picked a number.
Sure.
Even people that are over 35 have a tendency to take the easy way out, but it's super easy to send an email and super easy to send a text because here's the thing. People are extremely bold behind a screen.
They are. Keyboard cowards. Yeah.
Yes. So that is interesting though. But I do totally understand that from a work ethic standpoint, where do you see the pluses and the minuses? Or what are the pluses from the younger generation that you see?
They are fearless. When the ones that I'm getting, they are ready to go, 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 go. And it does not occur to them that they can be sued, lose their license, any of these things. They're going. They want to sell a house. They want to sell a house today. It's not a problem getting them to work. Now, I don't know what they did because they won't talk to me.
Nice.
But
right.
they're getting out there. That is something that I think is, ready, fire, aim? Yeah. Where some of the older generation is aim, fire.
Yep. Okay, so
that's a difference.
That's great though.
Two. Yeah.
So everybody rips on younger generations or they're not this or not this, but there's a fearlessness that you've seen.
Yeah.
But I'll say this too. If you're hiring them though, AnnaMarie, they're probably better than normal human beings. At least you would think so.
Of course.
Yeah, of course they are. I'm a great hirer.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So
they're all INTJs.
Exactly. They're wonderful.
They're high Ds.
Yeah. So tell me about, are you married currently?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Tell me about your husband now.
Trace.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about him. What's he do? Who is he? What, all that good stuff.
He is, first of all, I cannot be AnnaMarie Ellison without Trace Tyler Newton.
That's great.
Like he supports me. He is team AnnaMarie. He makes me slow down which I need sometimes so I don't burn out, so I
Right.
don't get dull. He is not afraid. So you have to have real thick skin to live at my house to be
Okay, why?
around me. Well, because I'm an athlete. Like
Yeah.
there's that constant, it's like a locker room all the time. Doesn't smell like a locker room.
The house doesn't smell like
No,
perfect.
does not
Good.
smell like a
It's
locker room.
good enough.
But it's just that constant yin, jab, like
Yeah.
quick things that occur. And I don't forget anything ever.
Yeah.
Neither does he.
Then what does he do?
He was a commercial insurance agent manager, and they had offices in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. But he recently got his license and just transferred over, and he's working for one of our agents.
Great.
You know.
Okay, so he works here in Birmingham.
Yes.
So tell me about Major. So Major's 13 years old.
14.
14 years old. Okay,
Mhm.
so where does he go to school?
He goes to Homewood.
Okay, what is he into?
He's in the 8th grade.
Okay.
He is 6'3", 185 pounds.
Oh, wow. Big boy.
Gigantic kid.
Does he play football?
He does play football.
So he knows Landon Pettis.
Him and Landon play together.
Great.
Him and Landon,
Him and Landon are both big.
Major's taller than Landon.
Wow.
Major's taller than Landon. Even with Landon's tall
Yeah,
hair.
big hair.
He's taller than Landon, but they are the big. So they both line up opposite of each other on a certain place. And I know them all those when they call them from the
That's
sidelines.
awesome. Okay, so tell me what else. Tell me about him and what else he's into besides football.
Football.
Really?
His goal right now, he wants to play in the NFL.
That's wonderful.
And they all do, right?
Yeah, sure.
But what Major, and I don't know where he gets it from.
Yeah.
He's written out a plan of how he wants to get there. And part of that is making sure he's getting good sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We have a get big plan at the moment.
Okay.
He wants to be 200 pounds by the end of June so that when he goes into summer workouts,
If he loses some, it's okay.
he started at 165 and he's at 185. So he's
Okay.
got 2 more months to go.
Wow.
But he is dialed into making sure he's eating 5,000 calories a day because that's something he can control.
Yeah.
People who play in the NFL didn't get there by accident.
No.
And it started with habits that he can set up now. And he is doing that. I don't necessarily think that all of his habits are great.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wants to work out twice a day. And I'm like, once is fine, babe.
Yep.
Just do once.
Yep.
It's fine. He likes to listen to the internet a lot on what the newest, greatest, latest. And I'm like, you got a great strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Just listen to that one.
Some of it can be confusing, information overload.
It can. But he's pretty dedicated. And like I said, he's putting in the work. Major's a big kid. And some of the parenting conversations we have at home a lot are, you're always going to be the biggest guy in the room.
Right.
Probably won't change when
Is
you're an
his
adult.
dad's big? Is his dad big?
His dad is tall, and my dad's 6'6".
Mm,
I'm tall for a
Yeah.
female. I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
So not like
right.
he's going to be tall, but he's always going to be the tallest
Yeah.
or taller. He's always going to be the big kid.
What does he play now? Does he play receiver? What does he play?
He plays defensive end.
Okay. Does he play offense at all?
Well, no, not presently.
Not
Trace and I think there could be a chance they could move him to tight end.
Right. Okay.
The high school runs a scheme with the tight end. The middle school does not do that. So yeah.
I got you. So it could work out.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about y'all's relationship, because I've got a 14-year-old.
Mhm.
She's a girl though, so it's a little bit different. My son is 11, so we're not quite at that stage yet. Tell me about the dynamic with you and him. Like, what is it like on a daily basis? How often do you get to see him? Is there lots of text messages and things like that? Like, tell me like y'all's relationship.
Major doesn't text. He doesn't phone. Like, he will leave this device away from him for hours at a time. And I'm like, pick up the phone. And I walk in there and there's, 10 text messages from me, a couple from his dad, his little group messages where he's not tied to it at all. He's like,
so
I
awesome.
have a phone. That's right. Like I said, good and bad.
Yeah.
He walks to my office from the middle school right now. And when he forgets to
Whoa. From Homewood Middle School to your office?
Yep.
That's a long way.
Stop it. You walked twice as far uphill in the snow with no shoes on. I don't want to hear that.
Really?
I did it. I walked from Homewood Middle School to my dad's office on Linden when I was growing up.
Wow.
And I'm a street over. So he
Yeah.
doesn't have as far to go.
Oh my
And
gosh.
It's not
Okay.
snowing.
Yeah. So he's not attached to his phone, which is extremely odd for a 14-year-old.
It is odd.
Yeah. Which is, I think it's wonderful.
I'm fine with it. I'm not pushing it. It gets irritating at times
Sure.
when I need to communicate with him.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So our relationship
Yeah.
is, we have a great relationship. There are things that are challenging for me as a strong-willed individual and him being a strong-willed individual that I have to remind myself, this isn't health or safety, AnnaMarie. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
It's not health or safety. It's okay.
I've got a great question that I just thought of that I want the answer because I'm selfishly have a 14-year-old as well. What are your thoughts on dating?
We don't.
Okay.
40 is where I was thinking that would be a good age.
40. Perfect. Okay. Same page. Because there's a lot of people that like, John has got friends that have boyfriends and things like that. I'm like,
Major
14.
does too.
And it's just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Okay. So we're on the same page there.
Trace keeps telling me that it's not realistic for me to think that at some point he's not going to be interested in another person.
Right.
Right now, that is the farthest from his mind. He's just not interested in having another person in his life at that level. And I'm okay with that. He has just started thinking about like what he wears to school as it relates to what other people are wearing. He used to just get up, pull on clothes. Now he's kind of asking, hey, does this match? Where he used to just not pay attention to that.
Right.
You have a 14-year-old girl, I have a 14-year-old boy, but leading up to the 8th grade dance, his face had cleared up a little bit. And I said, are you washing your face twice a day? And his response to me was, I just started washing it once a day to get ready for the dance.
Nice.
It's like, whoa,
gosh.
we need to have a dance more often. So you wash your face more often.
That's so funny. Okay, so before we wrap up, I always have 5 questions, and I don't want you to think about them too deeply. So there's just 5 quick questions, and some of them are pretty easy. So piggybacking off of talking about Major, what is your go-to activity with Major, with your kid?
Lifting weights.
Perfect.
We have a gym. We have a gym in the basement.
Exercise together.
Yep.
That
started early.
Awesome.
He started working out with me when he was 11.
That's great.
So, and he knows how to do all. He went to the CrossFit gym with me. As soon as he could sign a disclosure, he was in there doing and learning.
Yeah, sure.
How to lift properly.
Yeah.
And it has so far set him up pretty well. Now transitioning into high school sports.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but we work out together.
Who is your favorite follow on social media?
Ben Burgeson.
Okay, what does he do?
He owns a gym, but he has a podcast. And
Ben Bergeron?
Bergeron,
oh,
yes. Sorry.
Yeah, Ben Bergeron.
Excellence.
Okay,
yes,
yeah, I know. Yep.
Ben Burgeson is the high school coach's last name.
Gotcha,
Sorry.
perfect.
Burgeson, yes, Burgeson. I actually listened to his podcast.
So Ben Bergeron, that's good. What are you, and you have to, I've got a feeling I'm going to have to rein you in on this one. What is one thing that you're learning right now? Like you're focused on learning.
Focused on learning. Focused on learning. I don't know if I'm learning, but I'm very intentional with my work things. I want to be equally as intentional about my personal non-work things.
So trying to make sure that one gets not as much attention as the other, because that's really darn near impossible, but like making sure that you are spending time focused on one, but also spending time focused on the other.
Well, so, you've got the focuses, just simplifying it really quick. On your phone, you can put it in a work mode and it'll keep everybody from contacting you.
Yeah.
And you can have, moments of deep work and you can sprint through different projects.
Right.
I doesn't hesitate for me to turn on those focuses when I'm at work. When I'm at home, I don't turn any of those filters. I let everybody get me about all the things and all those interactions, all those distractions, all those things that are taking time away from Major and Trace. And it can be as simple as, let me just turn on my do not disturb, but I need to be as intentional with that time as I am with my work, work time.
That's good. That's really good.
And it's I don't know why it's hard. It's kind of hard for me to turn off.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different opinions about that. And I've worked really hard it's taken me a couple years or many years, but the last year and a half, probably 2 years, I've tried to do a very, very good job at not working at home. Mm-hmm. But in doing that, I've hired more people, not overhired, but hired more people that can take care of things that I don't have to take care of anymore. Yeah. So, okay, this is a 2-part question. The first one's going to be easy. The second one's going to be hard. Okay. What is your favorite vacation that you've ever taken?
Favorite vacation I ever took was My first mommy major vacation was the first one, us two together.
Yeah.
That was an important one.
Okay. What is your favorite vacation that you've never taken?
Well, I want to go like a lot of places.
Pick one. The one you want to go to the most.
I want to go to South Africa.
Really?
I think it would be
Why?
cool. I want to see animals that I would never get the opportunity to see.
Sure.
Serengeti sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be around people that talk like this.
Saw one last night. So the crazy thing is last night. So we're at Pelham.
To rub off
No, we're in Pelham last night and my daughter's playing sand volleyball. And I got the two little kids and we're just killing time because Pelham's like 35 minutes from our house. And we're walking and Georgia goes, Daddy, can I ask that lady if I can pet her dog? And she goes, I go, yeah, sure. And she goes, can I pet your dog? And boom, there comes this South African accent. And I was, and Georgia goes, Daddy, she talks funny. And I look up at her, I say, you from South Africa? She goes, yes. And so I heard it last night.
Yep. Like I said, I want to go there. I
Right.
think it'd be a lot of fun.
There's a guy in the building that is from South Africa. So it is fun to hear him talk. Okay. Last question. What's the best, you can't say the Bible. What's the best book you've ever read?
The Go-Giver.
It is a good book.
It's a great book.
It's your favorite book.
I would say it is the one, it's one that can go for a lot of different people at a lot of different places in life. Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi is a great book as well.
Never Eat Alone. I've heard that one too.
Never Eat Alone. Five
great.
Dysfunctions of a Team, and it's great for anybody who's leading
You
a
like
team.
that
Do you want
one?
me to keep going?
I know I said favorite, not a list. I said favorite. Okay, so if anyone wants to contact you, mentioned it earlier, if anyone wants to contact you, whether it be about buying or selling a home or wants to work with you or just wants to dig in deeper, where can they reach you?
AnnaMarieEllison.com, ANNA-MARIE, ELLISON, or I'm on all the socials.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much. This has been great. There's been a lot of fun, interesting things in here, and it's been really, really good. I appreciate it.
What made you want to start this podcast?
The selfish answer is because I don't know what my life is going to be like in the next 6 to 10 years. I don't know where I'll be, what I'll be doing. And so I want to grow a brand of, really a personal brand, I guess, of being able to connect with people on the level of doing business. So I get asked all the time, I bet you love food. I like food a lot, but I love business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want there to be some sort of platform to where I can talk to people, but also make connections like this and to whoever else. But I also know there are people out there that listen that when they hear someone talk enough, they feel like they have a connection with them. And if there's somebody out there that wants to do business, wants to have business, wants advice on business or whatever, I'd love them to use me or call me because they feel a connection to me. Because there's going to be somebody out there that wants to sell a business at some point, somebody out there that wants to do some sort of real estate deal. I would love to be involved with that. Yeah. So it's more of building a platform to where I can have future relationships and future business, however much down the line that is.
So as a TK, did you ever feel that pressure or that expectation? When
you say TK, teacher's kid?
Yeah, I'm a TK.
No, I did not. My parents were very, very hands off. So my dad is a Hall of Fame coach, and he was the opposite. So there was zero pressure. Did not push me, did not ride me, and I wish, in some ways, back in the day, I wish that he would push me and rode me more, but he didn't. I was extremely self-motivated. I don't really know where that came from. But I did not feel pressure. Like we were not you got to be great in school. I mean, I was a 3.2 kid in high school. I made like an 18 on the ACT. Like no one ever put pressure on me to thrive.
Your dad had a great impact on a lot of people, on a lot of kids. So did my mom. So there's got to be that every time you run into it, someone's like, oh, that's Cox's kid,
No. I did not view it that way at all. I viewed it as a way of my dad, I felt like was called to be a dad to those kids. We grew up in a predominantly Black community, not a lower class, but just a poorer Black community. And my dad was the dad to those kids. And that had a direct impact on me because I saw how much that community loved him and valued him. And I can't tell you how many times I'm in Walmart or someone knows me that knew dad would say, I would not be where I am today without your dad. And that is awesome. Especially on the back end of things, because my dad wasn't there as much as I'm there for my kids. But I now realize that he was changing lives all around that town. And I don't know if it's easier I didn't really think about it back then, but I know that on the back end of it, that's what he was doing. And it's, but no, I didn't ever feel any pressure. All my pressure was self-inflicted because I wanted to be great.
Yeah, Major's that way. Major applies way more pressure on himself. I don't usually ever need to say anything. He's already broken it down forwards and backwards, all of the things that went wrong.
Yep.
And
so
what he could do better.
Yeah, it's put no pressure, especially from my mom. My mom's like, whatever you want to do, baby. I mean, not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, but like just, she kind of, I think she also knew that I was pretty responsible. So.
Is there a trait or a characteristic that you have that you want to make sure all of your kids have?
Yes.
And what is it?
There's two. Okay. And here's what they are. Number one, I want my kid, and these are the only two, because these two things will overflow into so many other things. Number one is an excessive love for Jesus. That is the most important thing. Having a relationship with Jesus is extremely difficult. The older you get, the more difficult it gets because there's so many things that are pulling you in other ways. There's sex, there's jobs, there's progression, there's all these things. But if you can have an excessive love for Jesus and stay consistent on that path, it's extremely important because what that does is it always gives us a center, always gives us a basis point to go back to, because there's going to be extremely great times and there's going to be extremely crappy times. And we got to have a point to always go back to, because what happens is, depending on your mindset and your thought process, you will tilt towards a victim mentality, or you will tilt towards I'm amazing mentality. And so an excessive love for Jesus will help keep us in the middle. Number two, an abundant focus on health and fitness. Those two things are incredibly important, because if you can stay consistent with a relationship with Jesus, and you can stay consistent with a focus on health and fitness, they both require discipline and consistency. And with discipline and consistency, you can do so many different things. I don't care if you do real estate, if you're a videographer or a photographer, if you do food, whatever it is, those two things can take you so far. I'd love to have a list of these 19 things, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care. My daughter wants to sing. Tegan wants to play in the NFL. Georgia's 7. She wants to play with baby dolls right now.
Yeah.
But those two things, if those two things can be there, they really can do just about anything. The health and fitness portion is as much physical and mental as it is anything. So I feel like in those two things, I've got a spiritual, a mental, a physical. And if they can, those things can be extremely important and be great traits, then I think they will thrive at just about anything. So
those are all my questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. AnnaMarie is available and is a wonderful asset. If you're in Birmingham, if you're not in Birmingham, you just have questions, she's more than happy to talk. And so if you need her, reach out. So if you have enjoyed this, we would love for you to subscribe to all the different platforms that you're hearing us on, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever. We'd love to hear from you if you have any questions. So thank you so much, guys.